Welcome to Children's Chapel this morning. We're going to read together a story from the Bible. This story comes from the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew was one of Jesus' disciples, and after Jesus died, he wrote down the story of Jesus' life. The story we have this morning is a parable. A parable is a short story that helps us to understand something. So as we listen to our parable, I want you to think to yourself, what is God trying to reveal to me? What does Jesus want me to know through this story? Let's begin. That day, Jesus went out of the house and sat down beside the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he climbed into a boat and sat down. The whole crowd was standing on the shore. He said many things to them in parables. A farmer went out to scatter seed. As he was scattering seed, some fell on the path, and birds came and ate it. Other seed fell on rocky ground, where the soil was shallow. They sprouted immediately because the soil wasn't deep. But when the sun came up, it scorched the plants, and they dried up because they had no roots. Other seed fell among thorny plants. The thorny plants grew and choked them. Other seed fell on good soil and bore fruit. In one case, a yield of 100 to 1. In another case, a yield of 60 to 1. And in another case, a yield of 30 to 1. Everyone who has ears should pay attention. What do you think Jesus is trying to tell us in this story? I'll tell you what I hear. This spring, I planted a garden in my backyard. And one of the things that I had to do before I planted the seeds was to stir up the soil so it would be loose so the seeds could find a place to grow. And then I added some fresh new soil so that it would be healthier, so there would be more nutrients for the plants to grow big and strong. I added manure, which is cow poop, to the garden beds so that there would be extra nutrients for those plants to grow. And when I had done all of that, I scattered the seed. Now I have 4 different beds, and I planted different things in each bed. And around the garden, there are trees that have grown. And some of them have grown big, and some of them have shade. The leaves, they cover over where the garden beds are. And so some of those seeds that I planted have grown big and strong, and some of them are not doing very well. The ones that are big and strong are in places where there's lots of nutrients. It's closer to where my hose is, so it's easier for the water to reach them. And there's less coverage over the top. There's fewer trees covering the sun, so there's plenty of light that is able to reach them. And so different plants are growing big and different plants are not growing big. And just like in our story that we heard this morning, some of those seeds are doing well and bearing a lot of fruit, and some of them aren't. So when I think about the story and my garden, I imagine what Jesus is trying to tell me is that I need to prepare my heart to welcome God's love in the same way that I prepared my soil and my garden to receive the seeds, and the way that the farmer has done the same thing. And when I open my heart in a way that God's love can find a healthy soil when I take care of myself and take care of others and think about what I need to be happy and healthy and seek those things. That's when the seed that is God's love can grow in me. That's just what I hear. Maybe you hear something different, and I would love to know what you think God is telling us today.